Welcome back to another video, folks. Now, I've recently completed the last of the German self-propelled guns that I've purchased. These are re-releases for version 4 and they're all re-sculpts. So I thought I would get my collection together and let you have a look at them all and take a look around them, see what the sculpts are like and what I've done in terms of painting them and adding anything additional to them. But before we get started, I want to apologise for the lighting. I think it's a little bit on the harsh side, but it's extremely difficult. It is a very dull day in January in Scotland just now, so getting the right light is a bit of a challenge. But what I'll do as well, before I get started and showing you around the vehicles, I'm going to show you how I assemble them, because these are resin hulls with metal running gear and weapons typically, plus maybe a few other little bits and pieces. And I don't just use super glue to put these together. As you'll see, I use a combination of super glue and epoxy glue for strength and endurance. So before we look any further at these, I'll take you over to that little clip and then I'll bring you straight back and look around the vehicles in turn. Now, before you start gluing anything, you need to do some dry fitting. It's very important, and referring to any of the instructions on the Flames of War website might help you. But the reason for that is these hulls, the way they're cast, they're not always perfectly straight. Same for the metal components. So you might end up in a situation like this where there's a gap at the front. There, see? I can get the blade right in. And that's the most important point visually that we want to be tight. The back as well, but especially the front. And that's where you need to use your fingers just to take the kink out of this or replicate the kink that is on the hull. In this case, I've got to try and just bend it in. And I'm only going to use my fingers for that because the metal's quite soft, you know, you don't want to be going to town on it. And you may also find that you need to do some adjustments. Here, for instance, I did not remove this little bit of flash so that the track's not going back far enough. So I know I've got to take my knife, just cut into it. Now remember guys, when you're using any cutting instruments like this, the more pressure you use, the worse the wrong outcome will be. You know, if you're using a lot of pressure and the knife slips and goes into your skin, it's going to do more damage. So there, that's nice and tight, that's nice and tight, and then as far as the front goes, it's actually still got a little bit of a kink because the track's bent out the way, so I'll have to keep working that. So I'm going to keep doing that for the tanks, for the Hummels. I'm going to keep them together once they're matched and dry fitted. I'm going to keep them together, so don't, because they're all separate, they're all different individual, you know, I don't want to mix them up. And another thing, you can put little components like this on. I recommend you actually put, this is the gun rest, the travel rest. Put these on before you do the bigger bits. That would also go for things such as hull machine guns, because that's them on, taken care of, and you don't have to worry about knocking anything that's drying if you want to put them on at the end. And then you get really complicated things like this. It's got the trail, it's got the spades as well, they go in the back, but they can easily just be glued on with either super glue or a tiny little dollop of arrowdite. But you've got components, for instance, that needs to go on there, right, on the front, which then the wheels have got to go on. So you've got to make sure the wheels don't interfere with the shield on the front there. But then you've also got the main gun shield, and these stick on, hopefully you can see this, they stick on there. Try to get that more in shot. Once again, that's something that could potentially interfere with the wheel, so this becomes really difficult. Right, so it might be, now blue tack is your friend when you're, as you'll see, when you're doing any assembly like this, but I might want to just take a dollop of blue tack, put it at the bottom. That holds that bit in place, so I can then put my wheel on, hold it with a finger, and then see how that goes in terms of a dry fit, because it may be you need to put the gun shield on first and then the wheels on as far as they'll go, if you see what I mean, but that looks okay. So dry fitting, very important. It means when you're ready to glue, everything is in position, boom, on it goes. So I'm going to carry on doing some dry fitting and then show you the gluing. So that's all these dry fitted. There's not very many components on them, so it's quite good. And I washed my hands, by the way, after I finished all the cutting and filing, but they're already getting black again, you know, so just bear that in mind. You don't want to be going away and eating a sandwich, you know, wash your hands first. So these are all good to go. When I was dry fitting them, I'm pushing down into the body of the tank, making sure the tracks are flat, so they're good to go. So I'm going to talk a bit about the glue before I start applying it. So I'm using a 2-part epoxy. Aerodite is my favourite, always has been. It's so reliable, and you get them in these like twin tubes. You can possibly get them in 2 separate tubes. I would prefer separate tubes because for some reason one tube wants to come out quicker than the other. I don't know if it's a bit squint. And when you finish with it, guys, always put the cap on the right way, otherwise you're not getting it off again. So I squeezed out, you know, just basically onto that, squeezed it out, mixed it up, and you can tell the consistency that it is. If this was Aerodite Rapid, in the time it took me to mix it and do the dry fitting, it would be hardening already and turning into big long sticky, sort of hard sticky strands that are very hard to work with. But this will be good to work with for as long as it's going to take us to finish this project and more. It takes really 24 hours to completely cure, which is a disadvantage, but we're going to get around that with the super glue. So that's good to go. Now I'm using a gel super glue here. If you've got a gel super glue, always give it a shake, guys. It's good, it's really strong, but my favourite is the Gale Force 9 thick super glue because it's still a liquid. No, it's a thick liquid, it's still a liquid, and it's much better to work with small components using a liquid than something which is gel-like. But this will particularly suit what we need to do on the tracks, as you'll see. A liquid would be better with the gun team, the guns we're going to do, but with the Hummels then this will do fine. So let's take a Hummel, right? Oh, by the way, that I use this to give the hull a quick dusting, the resin hull, get rid of any excess dust. You can spend a lot more time preparing them, washing them and so on, but I've been painting these things for 10 years and more, and I've never felt the need to do more than remove the excess dust and potentially any little shards of resin that might be stuck to the hull. So we're ready to go on this, right? So the logic of what we're doing here is we want the strength of Aerodite but with the speed of super glue. So very simple process. I'm going to take super glue, dollop it on the end. You can see how gel super glue is quite good for this because it's really thick. I'm going to do both sides at once, so I've got to watch I don't handle it in those areas. And then I'm going to take a dollop of Aerodite, put it mostly in the middle. I don't want to touch the super glue. Aerodite and super glue, if they contact each other, create a sort of crystalline material that doesn't do anything. It certainly doesn't glue. Now this is where Aerodite really comes into its own, not just for its strength, but also the fact that these aren't exactly flat, perfect engineered surfaces. The Aerodite will fill the gap. So I'm now ready to put one track on there, then very carefully moving around, I can put a track on there, I can get it flat, make sure it's all tucked in. Here I'm pushing the hull front down more than the hull rear because I can feel it wobbling towards the back. Probably can't see it because of my hand, sorry folks. I'm going to push it like that. The front once again is the most important point. Now I can set that aside, just put it out of shot there, and then the arrowdite will take 24 hours to dry, but the super glue will be dry in minutes and it will hold it in place, and so you've got absolutely no concerns about the tracks moving. So I'm going to go straight on. The tracks will not move until it takes the arrowdite to glue. Now this is where blue tack is going to come in useful again. We want to put the gun on, we want it elevated. So let's find the right setting. And then just takes a tiny little bit of blue tack just to hold it in position, such as that. Right. And that's you. It's going to be rock solid on those mounting points. So, and this is where you don't want to be using too much, because arrowdite will squeeze out. If you find the arrowdite is squeezing out underneath the tank, it's an easy thing to just take your whatever you're using, like here it's just a wee sort of toothpick thing, just to cocktail stick rather, just to run it along and draw the arrowdite along the joint. So here, so there is a little bit of excess arrowdite in here. So to get a clean finish, I'm just going to lift it off. There you go, that's all it took. That's nice and clear. If you get any arrowdite in your fingers, it comes off really well with tissues. So that is going to, just make sure it's straight. That's just going to sit there, it's not going to move. The blue tack will keep it in place. The tracks have already effectively dried. I'm not going to knock them out because they can still move, but they've effectively dried whilst the super glue is dried, whilst the arrowdite cures overnight. And there you go, that's now assembled. So hopefully that will give you a little idea of how to get your metal and resin multi-component parts put together in a way that they'll stay together. I've never seen a track stuck on with arrowdite come off, so fingers crossed. So let's have a look. As you can see here, we've got at the back a couple of hornies or Nash horn, depending on what you want to call them. Then these guys you might be familiar with from previous videos, but they're just some marders. Then we've got the wesps, the hummels, which are the last ones I did, and then the grills. Now one thing you'll notice about all of these, apart from the marders, is that they've got a lot of crew. Over the years I've accumulated quite a lot of extra crew, so I've put them to use. And where there was 2 crew supplied with the kit, I've added 1, and where there was 3, I've added 2. You can see in these hummels. Now these are actually all 15cm gun crew that I had spare because I replaced the crew with some in winter uniform. So I never chuck anything out, guys. You never know what could come in useful. And in this case I have. So let's just start with the grills, just because they're closest to us. Now, these were painted in Tamiya. So I used my mix of Tamiya dark yellow and buff. And then I put a gloss coat over it all with a bit of Tamiya clear yellow just to resaturate things a bit. And then I do all my usual treatments from there. Pin washes, edge highlighting, putting scratches to define the shapes of panels, break up the larger panels, and enamel wash on the running gear. And you can see I've added some stowage, some of it from green stuff, some of it from the Africa Core tanks that I bought earlier, and lots of infantry there. You can see some of them have got camel smocks on. Lots of infantry, lots of crew. So it's a nice, busy little vehicle, nice squat bathtub type vehicle, but I quite like it. Oh, I forgot to mention the green is Tamiya olive green with dark yellow added to it, just to lighten it up. So you get a much softer transition between the yellow base colour and the green. So, in a similar vein, we've got the Wesps. Now that one's got a wee tap over the side because unfortunately the resin hull was cracked in the packaging. I could have got a replacement. Battlefront are really good for that kind of thing, but you know, I thought, let's just make it. Let's not waste any time. Let's just put a tarp over the side. And you can see, I've never seen a grill before, so I can't really comment on the re-sculpt differences, but it's really, really sharp. The detail is fantastic on it. I really like it. Inside and outside of the big bathtub. And you can see with the Wesps here, they've got a lot of differences on the front. Lots of sharper lines and a bit more definition. And then they've got the rear plate down with some shells stacked on it. And you can see I've taken a bit of time to differentiate between them by putting some more shells and rags, oily rags, all those kind of things I might be working with. So they're really, really nice sculpt. That open rear just gives you so much more opportunities to individualise things. And that's a big difference, the main difference between it and the previous sculpt. And these were painted in the exact same way and at the exact same time as the grills were painted. The pattern that I put on splodges instead of lines, but otherwise it's the same. And it's a nice bright finish, as you can see. Now let's have a look at, just make a bit of space here, we can have a look at Hummel. These are big chunky kits, as you can see. So one thing I did with these that I've done to a degree with the other vehicles is like streaking, but I wanted it to be more fading than streaking. So I've used some oil paint which is designed for that purpose. One day I'll put up a video of how I've done it, but you'll be able to see from looking on YouTube. Just bear in mind that it's a tiny little vehicle and you don't want to be smothering it with all kinds of different spots of oil paint. You just want to create a few streaks, and you can see that on the side. It really helps soften down the camo as well, because I don't apply a filter. It's something I don't do anymore. But this gives it a nice soft streaky look. And there's some extra stowage on these guys. There's a tarp that's been flung over the side as I've just got the gun into action. You can see the crew inside there, some of the original crew and some from the 15cm box set. And also, if I just turn it around, you can see I had a spare, well, I had a few spare wheels from the old metal stowage set. So I just made a little bracket to mount that on. I've done it over here. This is based on pictures that I've seen. And the pictures that I've seen actually had 2 on each side, but it was a bit too dominating and I only had 4. So I wanted to spread them around all of the vehicles. And you can see once again I'll be using some green stuff. That one's got a tarpaulin which is rolled up, hung over the side. Now the differences between this and the old sculpt, one way you can tell straight away is the definition. Well, that's the wrong side to show it, to be honest. It's the definition, excuse me, on the tie down hooks and such likes. They're very, very clear. The old kit, they were just little lumps. You know, they weren't even very rectangular, in some places were just little lumps. And the definition on the front of the hull is also a lot better. Once again, I really like this sculpt. They've not opened up the rear doors, but that would be really tricky because they split, they don't just fold down, and there are stowage bins that you can see the guys are sitting on that butt right up to those doors, so that's unlikely that they would be able to open them. But once again, you can see the really sharp tie downs on the rear as well. Nice clear internal detail too. And actually, worth noting as well, the running gear on all of these for the re-sculpts, they're in metal and they're very nice. You can see the really nice sagging on the track there. And you get a good view of the fading on the hull in that view too. And you can also see it on the barrel. Just softens it all over. Let's have a look at the marders now. I've never painted any marders before, so I really just have to comment on what I can see. And once again, really sharp, clean metal components, and really nice resin hull. As I said, I can't compare it to before, but it's really attractive, really well done, and a pleasure to paint and to do all that distressing on, because it's a Africa core vehicle. So let's go over to the last of the set. That's a Hornice. Now, I've not, well, in fact I did, many years ago I painted some Hornices. We're talking about getting on for 10 years, possibly, something as mad as that, but this is very similar in terms of added detail to the Hummel. It's a similar shape hull, but you'll notice at the front is different. It's only got one sort of raised area for the driver, whereas this has got a raised area right across the front, probably for driver and radio operator. I'm not sure who's in that other hatch. If they are, then they're totally closed in, so I don't know if it's purely for access. Somebody can maybe let me know in the comments. Once again, you can see the really sharp detail on the tie downs. Nice detail inside. The gun itself is the same that's on the Pack 43 box that you can get, and that's an absolute beast. You'll have seen some pictures and videos posted of that recently. And you can see I've put extra crew in here, this extra 88 crew that I've got kicking about. And similar to the other kits, little bits of stowage. Now here's a different approach to streaking, by the way, that you can see. It's more streaking than fading. This has been done just with enamels. You can see I've put some streaking right down the bottom of the hull too, for dust. I think the oil paints are a little bit more subtle and give you that faded look and not just a streaky look. So there you go, a nice wee collection of nice new sculpts. I'm going to enjoy rolling these guys out. I already know when the Hummels and the Wefts will be getting used in my late war armies, and they're going to be put in the same list. So that's going to be people re-rolling their saves with firepower, firepower of 3 in bombardment. I think the Hummels might even be a 2 in bombardment. Really quite a strong weapon. And I think that's the way to go. If you're going to go artillery, you might as well go with something that is going to vastly increase your chances of destroying your opponent and knocking them out. So there you go, folks. Thanks for watching. I've got more things on the go, so the videos will keep coming. So stay tuned and subscribe if you want to make sure you catch them all.